You're listening to the Platform Launchers podcast. I'm John Stange, and it's great to have you with us this week, as always, as we talk about building and growing and monetizing your online platform. We talk about taking your passion, turning it into a platform, and letting that become your ultimate paycheck. And we have some fun thoughts that we like to share on this podcast and some ideas that we like to share. And this week, we're going to be talking about this concept of, I guess I'll ask it as a question, what do you do if somebody is already offering something similar to you in regard to your platform or the content that you're creating? So that's going to be the subject that we talk about this week. And I'm going to share a few things that I think will be helpful to you when answering that question. What do you do if someone's already offering something similar to what you're offering or what you want to offer? Before we get into that, I just want to remind you that you can stop at platformlaunchers.com, our website. You'll find a bunch of resources there. We've got all sorts of courses that'll help you build, grow, and monetize your online platform. We have our members club, which you can join for 2 weeks for free and take a test drive and jump on our live calls and access hundreds of hours of video training content. And we also have our 21-day platform development planning guide. It's completely free. You can find it at platformlaunchers.com, and I hope you'll take advantage of it and download it today because I think you'll get a lot of good ideas from it. Now, getting back to our main subject this week, is we're just asking the question, what do we do if someone's already offering something similar to us? Let me say this. In the world of online entrepreneurship, there are, and this kind of surprised me when I got into this world here, but there are many hidden insecurities and many different fears that kind of go around with this online platform space. So, as I've had the privilege to get to know people who create digitally deliverable content in many different genres, I meet them at conferences, I meet them through online meetups and different things like that. I've also discovered that the public image that some people convey in their online presence, whether their YouTube channel or their podcasts or some of the other things, their social media, I've discovered that some people, their public image doesn't always line up with the person that they are behind the scenes. I've seen that happen more than once. And sometimes I've noticed that it works out like this. In public, they'll seem very confident, but in private, you notice that they're filled with a lot of self-doubt. In public, they seem generous, but in private, they seem fearful of losing whatever edge they believe they may have. And these insecurities can sneak out in a variety of ways, but they most certainly get magnified when some of these content creators encounter other entrepreneurs who sell similar products or share a similar message. You notice that they feel very threatened by it. They feel very awkward about it. They get very defensive. And I'll say this too, in this online world, there are people that are leaders, and there are good leaders and there are bad leaders. There are good influencers and there are bad influencers, and some might argue that both have their place. And I think I'd agree with that to a degree. But in my opinion, the leaders and the influencers that I think are the most dangerous are the insecure ones. Now, what do I mean by that? Why would I say the most dangerous influencers or the most dangerous leaders? And by the way, this is true both in the online world or just in the terrestrial world. The most dangerous ones, I think, are the insecure influencers or the insecure leaders, because not only will they attempt to protect their perceived empire, whatever they consider their empire to be, but if they feel threatened, they'll also attempt to undermine yours and then attempt to take you out of the game entirely. And what they don't realize is that in doing so, they end up exposing themselves. And in a relatively short period of time, they unintentionally reveal the nature of their character and their actual motives. And so you have to be aware of these things if you're creating a public-facing online platform where you become a very visible person. And if you're a message-based entrepreneur, if you're a message-based influencer, if you're a message-based content creator, please allow me to not only kind of expose that side of what you may encounter from time to time. I've encountered that from time to time, thankfully not too often, but it has happened. But I want to encourage you, if you're trying to be a message-based entrepreneur in the online space, someone who creates content with regularity, I want to encourage you to do it differently. And what I often encourage people to understand is that things go much better when you operate not from a space of defensiveness or a place of insecurity, but operate from a place of others-centered generosity so you don't make the mistakes of the insecure. So let others-centeredness, let that be a guiding philosophy behind what you're creating and what you're attempting to build. It always goes better if that's the undergirding philosophy that you, as the content creator, choose to hold on to. And I mention this for many reasons, but let me share with you one of the primary reasons I'm mentioning this right now. Along the way, you will encounter other leaders or content creators who have a similar message to you or make similar products to what you're making. And maybe they'll be speaking about a related topic, or maybe they'll attempt to serve a similar audience to the group that you attempt to serve. And when you encounter people that do similar things or create similar content or serve a similar audience, and by the way, you will encounter such people, what should you do? And if you're a second question I'll ask is if you're just getting started and you likewise discover that there are already people who do similar things to what you're planning to do, maybe you're going to wrestle with the question, should you even bother attempting to build your online platform? You may think, you know what, somebody else is already creating content in this lane. Maybe I shouldn't even bother creating this. Well, these are interesting questions to wrestle with, and I pose both of them for a reason. But let me start by answering the second question first. And I'll say this as an answer to that second question first. When you discover that you aren't the only person who has the idea to serve a specific audience by creating content aimed towards solving a specific problem, that's not a moment for discouragement. That's often a moment for celebration, because that means your idea has been validated. In the marketplace, your idea has been shown to have validity. The market is demonstrating that there's a need for someone, or more likely, many people, to attempt to solve the same problem you're trying to solve. So look at that as a market validating kind of metric. And because there are many people out there who need the solution you're trying to offer, the truth is it's actually going to take more than one person to be offering that kind of solution. That means there's room in the market for you. There's room there for you. The world needs more than one financial coach. The world needs more than one weight loss expert. The world needs more than one spiritual leader or marketing expert or business mentor, because the world is filled with different personality types and different people at different seasons of life or different seasons of personal development. So your unique gifting and your unique perspective, what it can do is it can actually help people in ways that someone else who teaches the same exact concepts won't necessarily be able to help. But now let me answer the first question as well, because the first question relates to, what if you're already creating content? What if you're not new at this, but then you encounter people who do the similar things that you do or teach on similar things to what you teach on? So let's say you're not new at what you're doing and you aren't looking to validate your concept. It's already validated. You already know it has a place in the market. You've been creating relevant content in your genre for a while. But again, along the way, you encounter someone who does a similar thing. What should you do? Should you respond from a place of insecurity and defensiveness? Obviously, you already know my answer to that question. No, you shouldn't. There is a better way to respond. Now, let me give you a note. This is like a sidebar here, even as I answer this question. In moments like this, most people, when they discover that there's somebody else doing something similar to them, most people, the majority of people, they express defensiveness and insecurity, like we mentioned just a moment ago. And they treat others like competitors. And when they do that, they end up spending an unhealthy amount of their emotional energy undermining the work of their so-called competitors instead of creating new content that helps their audience. Don't take that approach. Don't spend an unhealthy amount of your emotional energy trying to undermine the work of your so-called competitors. Don't even think of people as competitors. In fact, repeat after me just in your mind or out loud. If you're in your car right now, if you're in your office, wherever you are, repeat after me. You have no competition. Now, I want you to say that again, but I want you to say it in a more personal way and say it this way. I have no competition. Say that of yourself. I have no competition. Now, the reason I'm encouraging you to think that way or to even say that out loud, I hope some of you said it out loud, whether you're watching us on YouTube or whether you're listening to our podcast here, however you're consuming this content, I really do hope that some of you said that out loud, because the reality is the best thing you can do for your business is to spend your time and your energy focused on providing solutions and offering excellent customer service and keeping yourself educated so you'll be in a better position to serve those who need your help, instead of spending all your time thinking about what somebody else is doing and treating others like they're your competition. They're not your competition. You have no competition. Now, I'll explain what I mean by that when I'm saying that. Many people know that I have two primary platforms. One is in the area of online platform development. That's what I do here with Platform Launchers. I try to help people figure out the best practices for them to build an online education business, we'll say. You know, an online business that focuses on a message that they want to communicate, a platform that helps them deliver content in helpful ways and earn an income from doing so. So that's something I very much enjoy. If you're listening to the Platform Launchers podcast, or if you're watching our YouTube channel, you know that this is what I do. But the other platform that I have, and I'm very much invested in as well, is a faith-based platform where I create faith-based content that helps people in their spiritual life, their spiritual growth. Both platforms reflect issues and topics that I care very deeply about. I care about both subjects, but you know, and I know that I am most certainly not the only person creating content in both of these spaces. And if you do just a quick search online, I actually was searching for something yesterday on YouTube, and I came across someone who creates similar content to me, and it was a name that I wasn't familiar with. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And so I checked out some of her content. And I was like, it's actually really good content. And so if you do a quick search online, what you're going to discover is that there are many people attempting to offer content or resources that are similar to what you're creating. So in my case, there are many people out there trying to offer content and resources that help people grow spiritually. And that's something that I do all the time, right? Well, they aren't my competitors. As people are doing this, they're not my competitors. I'm actually grateful for what they do because they're helping people that I'll never get to help. And likewise, I'm helping people that they'll never get to help because of my unique personality and my unique background, my unique experiences, and even the region of the world that I'm in. And by the way, the same is true for the business content that I'm creating. Here in Platform Launchers, as I'm creating all this business content related to online platform development, I'm not the only person teaching some of these principles. There are other people who teach these principles as well. However, I do have a unique take on them. And I do have a unique series of experiences that I can refer back to that no one else can express in the same exact way. So in essence, since that's true of me, and by the way, it's also true of you, but as I think about that in a personal way related to the platforms that I oversee, in essence, what it means is that I have no competition because I have a unique set of experiences and approaches and a unique personality and a unique way of delivering content. And since I truly believe that in the end, I have no competition because I do things in a unique way, even if it's on a similar subject, then that means my mind is now free. And it's free from having to treat anyone like a competitor. I don't have to do that. In fact, I think it's sometimes unhealthy to treat other people like competitors, especially in this online space. You could choose to do so if you want, but the people that tend to go about things that way with their online platforms, they typically strike me as unhappy people. And sometimes they come across as a little bit selfish. And I'll say this, like having that mindset, a mindset of others-centeredness, a mindset of generosity, a mindset that's focused on helping people, not trying to get something from people, but trying to give something to people, it helps me to stay focused on remaining helpful. And it also gives me liberty to remain generous and to become collaborative. So quite frequently, what I'll do is I'll partner together with other content creators and other influencers, and we will mutually promote one another's platforms. I just did this with another content creator just last week. We mutually promoted similar things for each other's platforms, and it was wonderful. I love doing that because I think it keeps my heart in a healthier place. And here's something else I've noticed. Maybe you've noticed this as well. And some might argue there's a spiritual component to this, and I think I'm inclined to agree. But every act of generosity I engage in seems to come back to me many times over. I can't think of a moment in my life where I've ever regretted acting in generosity or being generous. Just for the sake of being a blessing to other people, that's wonderful in and of itself. But I have to tell you, every act of generosity I think I've ever engaged in it just seems like it comes back to me many times over. And I like being in that set of thinking or that mindset, as opposed to looking out for myself or just trying to get things for myself at the cost of somebody else. So what does this mean for you if another entrepreneur or another online content creator or message-based entrepreneur in the online space, what does it mean for you if someone like that is doing something similar to what you're doing? Well, I think in essence, it probably means you're doing something right. Somebody else is doing it in the online space. If they're creating content in that space, odds are you're probably doing something right. It very likely means you've identified an audience that needs multiple people to help them. And I think it also means that you should remain focused on providing great content and great customer service. So you'll be too busy building your platform to ever feel compelled to attempt to tear down the platform someone else is trying to build. Don't look at others as your competitors. Look at others as people you can learn from, maybe even collaborate with. But here's the thing, and I'll come back to that mantra that I encouraged us to repeat just a few moments ago. You have no competition. You could even say that right now. I have no competition. You're not trying to compete. You're not trying to tear down. You're trying to build up. And that's a wonderful thing. And good results come from that. So let that encourage you. Even if you are new in the platform development space and you're looking around and you're saying, oh, there's already other people that do this. All that means is that the marketplace has validated your idea. Get in the mix. We need more than one coach in all areas. And you should join in. And if you discover after you've been creating content that somebody else creates content similar to yours, wonderful. It just demonstrates that you're needed and more than one person is needed to help those who have that need that they're seeking outside help for. A few quick things as we finish up. I'll just again remind you to stop by platformlaunchers.com. On our website, you'll see our membership community. We'd love to see if you felt led to join us in that. We'd love to work together with you, and you could be part of what we're doing in our community and growing together to build, grow, and monetize your online platform. You could see the courses that we have in Platform Launchers University. And you can also download our free 21-day platform development planning guide. It's right there on the website, platformlaunchers.com. Check it out. We know it's going to be helpful to you, and we're certainly grateful for the opportunity that gives us to serve you. But that's it for us this week. Thank you again, as always, for joining in and tuning in wherever you tune in, whether on your podcast player or on your YouTube interface, wherever you're watching, on your phone, on your computer, wherever it is. We're just grateful that we get to spend a few minutes together each week. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to catching up with you again right here next time. Have a great week.